Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of The Left Wing. I am TJ Whitehead, powers taken not given, back in action, joined once again by the founding member of the Justice Gang, John Cooper of Counterpoint Politics. How are you doing today, my friend?
TJ, I'm doing so good because I've been so excited to do this episode. For those who don't know, me and TJ, when Superman came out and we were hearing reports of the political statements being made in the movie, we were planning on doing a review. And then TJ goes to see it, and I get a text message. He's like, I'm so sad that we're waiting a week to do this because I have so many things to say. And then I saw it like the next day, and it's like, holy shit, TJ, quit your job so we can discuss this on the show. But we're here now. We're here now, TJ. And has your anticipation for this discussion dwindled at all?
No, it hasn't. And it's only become more powerful because I have been dodging other reviews of this film since I saw it. I didn't want it to taint my review on it. So, of course, this is right in my wheelhouse. So every other video I'm recommended or every, other TikTok I scroll is someone giving their opinion on the video. I got to, speed by it because I want to keep my thoughts unadulterated. So yeah, I've been aching to do this. Can't wait.
And it's great because a movie's good, or at least a movie is going to have cultural impact when you have to actively avoid spoilers. Like it was so hard, and this is going to be a spoiler review for anyone who is worried about that. So if you haven't seen Superman yet, you don't want to be spoiled, just keep this playing in the background on mute to help the algorithm.
Yes.
And then go see it, and then come and watch this episode again afterwards. Colby asks, how much do we need to crowdfund to get John to have Guy's bowl cut for his wedding? Colby, you got to crowdfund probably like a large amount of money, because I'll die and it'll have to be donated to a worthy cause.
28 U.S. American dollars, folks. That's what we need to raise for John Cooper to get the Guy Gardner bowl cut. We'll give our opinion. We see the title of the episode was, "Is Superman Worth Watching?" Ben says yes. The answer is yes. Brendan responds, "Saw it last night. Even if you're just looking at it from a comic perspective, it is a classic superhero story." Okay, so we got some good opinions here. I guess I'll give John. We should have talked about like a format to how to do this.
Yeah, we really should have, but we're gonna discover it as we go along here. I'll say this, TJ. Let's just go in order of things that we give a shit about talking about with the movie, and then we'll kind of. I think we both have a positive review, but we'll give our official review at the end of the episode.
All right, yeah. So I broke down mine into like bad and good and stuff that I may have wanted to change. That was just like, but I figured you had some similar. So I guess I'll give my overall thing about like stuff people want to talk about. Is that what you said with the film?
Topic by topic, because like there's a lot of angles you can look at this film from. Some of them are more filmy, some of them are more political, and so I think we should get our film. How much we liked the film kind of out of the way, and then we can dive into some of the more ideological messaging.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. Because I actually read that the complete opposite. Okay, so I'll give my overall review on the film is that I wanted to love this film, and I hoped to love this film. I only liked it. That's like I thought it was very well done. I think that David Cornsweet did an amazing job as Superman. There were parts of it that I'll go over it in the full review and like what that I would have tweaked a little bit better, but I would give it like a solid B plus, maybe even A minus. Like it's not bad. I don't want to give the impression that I thought the film was bad. I liked it. I'll probably watch it again, but it wasn't like a massive, like I wanted to love it so much, and so maybe I went in expectations a little bit too high, but I give it a positive review, like definitely a thumbs up, but an A minus B plus range. I don't know about you.
So I kind of had the opposite of you, whereas I went into it with tempered expectations, because when I saw the trailers and everything, there was something about just the style that struck me as like it very much felt he was using the CGI characters. doing a lot of the stuff that he was doing in Guardians of the Galaxy. And don't get me wrong, Guardians of the Galaxy series, very good. I do enjoy them, but as you said, they're not even trying to be A-plus films. Like,
No.
They're trying to be solid A's at best. And I was worried that that's what this was going to be. And to a certain level, I think it kind of was. But I came away very impressed with a lot of what the movie did. I don't think it did anything that broke the mold, but I think it kind of reset the mold. And in a way, I thought it was the best possible version of what this Superman film could be. I thought it was the perfect Superman film for this time. And I thought it was an incredibly powerful Superman film in the way that all of the themes tied together incredibly cohesively. It was a wonderfully written and acted film that didn't shoot for the moon, so it didn't land among the stars, but it nailed everything it set out to accomplish.
Yeah, I can't say that it failed in executing any of the important parts of the film. And what you mentioned, that what the film was trying to be, that's actually why I went in with such high expectations, because I feel like, honestly, since 9/11 is when this started. And Batman Begins a few years later, for superheroes specifically, where everyone has been obsessed with making superheroes as like, if they actually existed in real life, what would it be like? Kind of like a diet version of The Boys and stuff like that. And look, that was great. I didn't, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a cool concept and everything. But I did yearn for not necessarily, 1960s Batman show camp level stuff. I didn't want stuff to be that goofy, but kind of like Saturday morning cartoon superhero stuff. It felt good to see bright colors and a smiling Superman. I will never forgive Zack Snyder for what he did to Superman and Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. Superman, for some reason, has been difficult ever since the Christopher Reeves days or whatever, where they're obsessed with making Superman this somber, morose character, like he's Batman. So I say, no, Superman is Captain America. Superman is a Boy Scout. He's one of the easiest characters you could write. You guys keep fucking it up. And I was glad to see a vibrant, bright, smiling, like, more human Superman. I was very happy with that.
That's exactly what I was talking about when I say it's so thematically cohesive.
Yes.
Because everything about it is about reintroducing that version of Superman. Schneider, and I'm not as much of a Schneider hater as some people are. I feel like he's a all right director who makes fun popcorn flicks, who has the worst fucking fans in the world. But it was just kind of a fuck you to Schneider. Like, not a fuck you, but a fuck you to everything that Schneider's Superman represented. That darkness, that brooding mentality. And when I say darkness, I don't even mean like inside the character. I mean just the fucking visuals of the character. The bright costume, the throwback to what it used to stand for, to what it used to be, that this Superman, the conflict is not that he's facing some insurmountable enemy. It rarely is the case with Superman and his best stories that he's facing an enemy that is stronger, better, faster than him. It's he has to do all of this while saving absolutely everyone and having the absolute perfect result. And I cannot stress this enough. I was talking about this earlier with a friend of mine. The climax of this movie is not when he defeats Ultraman. It's not when he goes and arrests Lex Luthor. It's when he rises in the air and kisses Lois Lane. And I have like a million things to say about that relationship, but that's what makes this movie so cool to me, is that the real conflict, the real conflict that drives this movie is Superman and humanity. And it's not an adversarial relationship. It's one where Superman is trying to prove his humanity both to himself and to the world. And it's such a powerful message at this time when, specifically, I hate to break this to anyone watching the show, this might come as news, immigrants are being vilified more than they have in a long, long time. And to make that movie now, and we'll get to the other the big political message of the movie later, but to make that movie now and have that be what this Superman stands for and represents, I just thought was incredibly cohesive and wonderful to watch.
Yeah, that was that's true. The Superman's relationship with humanity has been, at least in the films, a very strong presence since the last decade or so.
Mhm.
And like watching, like you said, I think Zack Snyder is a good director too. I don't
Mhm.
have I think he does get a lot of hate and
I have
everything.
my ideological qualms with some of
Of
his
course.
messaging and tropes and everything, but 300 is a fun film. Like
Mhm.
I will, you can put 300 on, I will fucking watch it. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit if it's slightly fascist. It's fucking fun.
There's nothing slightly about it, but I love it, right? I love it. I will watch it all day long. Like, once again, like we say in the show, talented people can have horrible ideologies. It's okay. You
Yep.
can admit it. And 300 is a good example of that with Zack Snyder. But Zack Snyder's Superman was different from James Gunn's Superman, is that Superman in Zack Snyder's universe was a god, and he knew it.
Mhm.
And he was like, well, how do I fit in with these humans as a god? And they even had the Christ imagery is so overpowering in Man of Steel. They must
So
mention,
annoying.
yeah, it's so annoying. They must mention that Clark Kent is 33 years old 5 times. They keep
Mhm.
saying it over and over again. He descends from the spaceship in a cross, when he's floating toward Earth. He's in a church, prayers. Okay, we get it. Fuck it, man, we get it. But yeah, it's annoying. But James Gunn's Superman is like, no, I'm not trying to prove to anyone that I'm human. It's very apparent that I have the same flaws and problems and worries, concerns with family, friends, relationship. Speaking of relationship, you mentioned the Superman and Lois thing, so I'd like to go there now. So this is another one where we might differ. I did not buy the relationship between Clark and Lois. Like,
Ooh, this is
I
interesting. We're gonna have a
no,
disagreement here.
I didn't. Because listen, there were two good scenes. Well, there were three, I guess, but the third one's kind of cheating. But there were two good scenes, I think, with Lois and Clark. And the first one is the interview. I think Trees Top mentioned right here, the people were going to die was my favorite line. Yeah, that was great. Like the interview when they're having like an actual, argument isn't the right word. Well, actually, yeah, because it seemed like they're going to break
It's an
up at the end.
argument interview. It is that scene, TJ.
Great.
Like I will let you finish. That scene, that 12 minutes of just pure dialogue, is one of the best things I've seen in a
Yeah.
superhero film. Period. Like that scene. I'm not saying the whole movie, but that
Mhm.
is top tier. Put it
Yes.
up against any scene in a superhero movie, it can stand with it.
Yes, it was fantastic. I have no complaints about that scene whatsoever. And the second good scene between Lois and Clark was actually a comedy scene in a way. And that's the one where the Justice Gang, we'll get to them too. When Superman is talking to Lois and the Justice Gang is fighting the giant, like
Mhm.
laser show monster in the background. And I love background comedy. There's a scene that has, um, unexplained or unnoticed background comedy, I'm in every time. And then at the very end, Lois says, "Oh, hey, there's something going on out there." And Superman's like, "Oh no, they got it. It's fine. This isn't a big deal at all." I love that one. And then the third scene, I think when you talked about where Superman takes her up into the air, and the kid's like, "That's." I mean, it was good, but come on, like that you can do that in any Superman movie. But the rest of the time, I didn't feel any spark between Lois and Clark. I didn't. They seemed like colleagues. They seemed like very good friends. Even when they went to visit his parents or whatever, it didn't. I did not feel the chemistry there. And I know it's kind of unfair to make this comparison because this is the pinnacle of it. But the scene in Superman, like the 1979 or 76 movie or whatever, where that interview scene, where Margot Kidder's Lois Clark or Lois Lane is interviewing Christopher Reeve's Superman, the sexual chemistry is through the roof. Like it is just like it's palpable. There is nothing close to that in this film, which might be unfair to leave it at that level. But the rest of the movie, they didn't seem to be. I never thought, oh, those folks are in love. I thought those two like each other, they respect each other, but I didn't feel the love there.
So let me. I'm not actually going to disagree with anything that you said because I think that it's all true. I'm just going to recontextualize it
Sure.
in the way that I saw it because those scenes that you described, I'm pretty sure, or the four scenes because you also described the scene with in Smallville, but I'm
Oh,
pretty sure those are the only four scenes with the two of them, and each of them is incredibly emotionally impactful. Like those are the scenes, the load-bearing emotional scenes of the movie, and you can wrap in his conversation with his dad as well into that. And they as I said, those are the ones that actually push the emotional plot forward. That's why the climax is when he's, you know, making up with her and kissing her. The reason you don't feel that chemistry, I think, is because one of the main conflict of the film is their relationship. That you're right, it's not super loving. They're what, a couple weeks into the relationship at this point. They're having their first fight. They're having their first fight as a couple. Yeah, the chemistry isn't quite there because, yeah, it makes sense. It's part of the conflict of the film. And the thing that does blow my mind a little bit, TJ, fuck, maybe this is just my own personal crush on Rachel Brosnan. But Jesus fucking Christ, just the way that she looks at him with the, oh my God, she acts so well with just her eyes and her smile. In a very unique way. She does this incredibly uniquely where she has this ability to give a look that is both exuding with hope and optimism, but also cynicism. And that is, to me, so pivotal to the movie, because you mentioned that scene with the fight going on in the background.
Yeah.
I actually kind of teared up during that scene. I thought it was so moving. Not just the way, I love how it's shot and everything, like you said, like it is played for laughs, but also the laughs have a serious end to them. And when they're talking about the bands and how he's like, caring about people is punk rock, and she looks at him and she gives him this smile, and she's like, the smile is communicating, wow, that's such an insane thing. My cynical fucking human brain cannot agree with you that this stupid fucking pop punk band is punk rock, but you genuinely, in your heart of hearts, believe it. You believe that being kind is punk rock, and there's nothing I can say or do to shake it in you, and that's what I love about you. And she communicates that with her fucking eyes, and it's wonderful. And I just absolutely love that scene so much. And as you met, the interview scene, as fucking Treestop mentioned, people were dying is the line of the movie. It is so good. You feel it because it's real, right? I want to sit. Let's just put that in a box. We'll discuss the real country that this movie is about later. I want to get everything else out of the way before we go to that. Let's just put that in a box. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, I disagree with you that there wasn't sexual chemistry there, because it was popping off the screen for me. But it does. It makes sense given the plot and themes of the movie. The one thing I will say is that the fact that they made a compelling movie that also launched a new cinematic universe with tons of interesting characters that, you know, all are going to get their own offshoots and spin-offs, like, and have it also be a compelling Superman movie. It's really hard to do, and yeah, they fucking nailed that. Like that's why it's not an A+, because it couldn't be. It just couldn't be. It was carrying too much. We'll get A+ from this universe in the future, I am sure.
Yeah, DC's been trying to do that for years, and they haven't successfully done it so far. And I wanted to look over here. Well, first, Colby says James Superman is the Silver Age Superman, and Brandon says, I'll say for how clear the themes were, the acting and the characters were surprisingly subtle. The interview scene was such a gamble so early in the movie too. That's true. That's a good point, because we hadn't seen shit so far. We had seen Clark Kent talking to Lois Lane at work, and we'd seen her kind of at the time we didn't know that she knew he was Superman. So I did like that, because it kind of it made me think, Lois is on to him. And then you find out, she actually knows. And so that was pretty good. But just jumping right into a lover's quarrel was kind of risky, because it could, alienate. It could have alienated either one of them. It didn't. It did a good job where you saw exactly what both of them were saying, that neither of them were wrong. They were both right in what they were saying. And that was pretty good. Colby says the interview is the pinnacle of Superman as a character. If that scene is all you take from the movie, you know who he is. That's excellent. That's excellent. And Treestop says, I got the vibe. We are watching a really rough patch in relationship. Thanks what you said, John.
Yeah.
And
it's the classic 3-month fight. It's the relationship fight every couple has at about 3 months that determines whether the relationship is going to continue or it ends and goes away forever. That is the movie you just watched, but with superpowers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And thank you to Just Some Geeky Guy for the $2. As a Snyder fan, I surprisingly liked it. 8 out of 10. And 3 months. So 3 months they're in the relationship. Yeah, good job.
Yeah,
there.
Okay, yeah, exactly. No, so just some. I'm glad you say that. And I want to just say this and then put Snyder to bed. The people, the fucking sycophants who just
Oh,
have to hate this movie because they're Schneider fanboys or for whatever political reason. Just go stop lying. Enjoy life. Just like me and
have fun.
TJ can go watch 300 and have fun with it, even though we disagree with a lot of its messaging and general just vibes. It's still a fun movie and we can enjoy it. I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, 300 sucks. I can criticize it. There's plenty to criticize. There's things that I think could be better, but fun fucking movie. This was a fun fucking movie. Like,
It was
even
fun.
if you
Yes.
disagree with everything it has to say, it is a fun, well executed Superman movie.
Yeah, that's the number one word I would use to describe the movie that was fun, which people, they should be, okay? Movies should not. All right, this is a controversial opinion of mine, John. I don't know if I told you this one, but this is a controversial movie review that have you seen 12 Years a Slave?
Yes.
Okay, I don't like that movie. I don't like it.
Me
Okay. I love it. I love when this happens. So I don't know why you don't like it, but I'll tell you why I don't. The reason I don't like it is a reason that doesn't sit well with people, but not enough laughs. That's what I always say about 12 Years a Slave, that I understand this is a serious topic. It's about a true story about Solomon Northup, a man who was captured and sold into slavery as a free black man living in Maryland. And it was a terrible tale and a horrific dozen years of his life. But it is a slog to watch. Like, I understand that people, no matter how bad the situation's in, there's comedy relief, there's moments of levity. I'm not asking to, have, just rolling with laughter. I understand it's a serious subject, but I should want to watch the movie again. I have no desire to watch it. The only times I laughed in the movie were times I shouldn't have. There were plenty of that. They weren't set like for jokes, but the songs that the overseer makes the slaves sing, I realized that a lot of them are eerily similar to army cadences. That was weird, so I laughed at that, although it's not supposed to be funny. But yeah, so why don't you like it? I'm just curious since we're
for a lot of the same reasons, and kind of as you said there, it's just like you watch it and you're just like, I have no interest in ever watching that again. And again, there's different reasons to watch different films. It was a well-made film, well acted, well produced, well shot, all that. But yeah, it's just like, what the fuck? I have no desire to watch this again. It didn't tell me. If you were to go into 12 Years a Slave with a preconceived notion of what it was going to be, you would walk out being like, yep, that's exactly what I thought it would be. And I never watched it again. Yeah, like it's just that way. And like for people who are like, oh, you can't put levity in 12 Years a Slave, go watch Life is Beautiful. Go watch Life is Beautiful. Have you seen Life is Beautiful, TJ?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
A movie about the Holocaust made by a fucking comedian. It is incredibly fucking funny. And like I said, how the humor in that scene with Lois and Superman with the fight going on in the background, the humor of that scene, the levity of that fight going in the background adds to the gravity of the conversation between Lois and Superman. The same exact thing happens in Life is Beautiful. That's one of the most moving movies about the Holocaust you'll ever watch because it's funny. And that's the range of human emotion, right? And that's real. The highs, the highs emphasize the lows, and vice versa. And again, movies can be a lot of things. I'm not saying a movie has to be anything, but if you're going to be a great film, you got to hit a spectrum.
Yes.
And I feel like the Whale is another great example of that. Depressing as fuck movie.
But I didn't see The Whale. I didn't see that.
You should. It's very good, but it has levity. Like, it's depressing and like dark and like shot like a Schneider film, but like it's funny too. And you have to be able to take yourself a little less seriously sometimes.
You phrased it perfectly, with the full range of human emotions. That is a fantastic way to put it. It has to be there. It has to be there. Like a movie like 12 Years a Slave, gonna be mostly a downer. I got that. But if it's a downer for 125 minutes, no, sorry, not interested. That's just not anything I want to get with. Brandon's.
Go ahead.
Oh, Brandon says a lot of movies aren't fun or genuinely funny anymore. This is exception. Yeah.
And so I was going to say that one of the criticisms I have with this movie, one of the things that prevents it from being A+ is that it doesn't. And I guess we're going to open the box now.
Let's go.
As I said, the lows can highlight the highs and vice versa. They didn't go quite low enough with. Do you even remember what the country was called? Israel? Moravia, right? There is a moment in the movie where the child, in Gaza. I'm just going to say Israel and Gaza because I'm not going to fucking remember what they're
I didn't
called.
remember the other country actually. I don't remember.
And by the way, before people are like, oh, it talks about Israel, and I went in expecting there'd be like a couple lines or whatever. Holy fucking shit! This is the most unsubtle criticism of Israel I've ever seen in a movie. Oh my god! But the kid, he raises the flag of Superman, and you feel this like Superman's going to come save the day. You feel this hope, the hope that this version of Superman thematically represents in the movie. But then you kind of just like, I don't know. I had this very deep feeling of sadness after that, and I saw a TikTok from Goofy Wise, guest of the show, and he kind of said the same thing, where it's like, "Fuck," but there ain't no Superman in real life.
Oh yeah.
And while the movie talks about that conflict very directly, it really just, oh, Superman does save the day, everything's good, and we're good now. And that didn't quite sit right with me. And I understand it, again, it had to do a lot, and I don't necessarily expect more from this film. But to me, that's one of those things where I say it's not in the upper tier echelon of superhero films, and that's one of the reasons why.
Damn, John's asking James Gunn to go off. Yeah, you're right. Because listen, if you guys haven't seen the film, I heard too before I saw the film that there was an Israel Gaza metaphor there, a stand-in for the conflict going on, and I was waiting to see how it. But holy shit, like, it is. It's not even open to interpretation. There's no way you could look at it and assume that they're talking about anything else. And honestly, I have to say, the fact that he was so blatant about that, kind of ballsy. I mean, it really was, because this
ballsy
movie,
as fuck.
It is like we talk all the time about how superheroes, like almost all of them, especially Superman, created by two Jewish young men, given like a Jewish sounding name. In the early Superman comics, he's always fighting for labor unions. He's fighting the Klan and everything. Like, it was always a progressive character, but Superman doesn't belong to progressive. Superman belongs to everybody. Like, everybody loves Superman and everything. So knowing that the audience is as wide as possible and still saying, yeah, I am taking a very firm position on what I think about what's going on in this this conflict that's pretty divisive in the United States. Ballsy move. The fact that he went as far as he did, I actually kind of appreciate.
And it's, again, unsubtle, incredibly ballsy to launch your not just like this is a one-off movie I'm putting my flag. This is the first movie I'm making in this, and I'm going this balls to the wall on such a controversial issue. And I will say the one thing I was like, the dictator guy, the nose, I was like, ooh, that made me a little, and just the character, I was like, again, I'm not saying that as a statement about the film or James Gunn or anything, but I'm just like, you could have not had that nose. Like it's not like it was an iconic comic book character that was like supposed to look that way. That was a little weird. That made me uncomfortable, and I did not like it. Otherwise, that entire storyline is fucking fantastic. Okay, I want to circle back to it. We're gonna keep circling, guys.
Right,
this is gonna be two dudes chatting about a movie they really like. But the line, we haven't even touched on Lex Luthor yet. Lex Luthor was so good. Lex Luthor actually has a history of being played by amazing actors.
Yeah, you're right.
Gene Hackman, Kevin Spacey,
Jesse Eisenberg,
not amazing person, but great actor. Jesse Eisenberg, who doesn't really hold a candle to those two, but is still a good actor in his own right. And Nicholas Hoult is one of my favorite actors working right now. He is so fucking talented. He absolutely nailed this role. Perfect casting for this version of Lex Luthor in particular. And the line when he says at the end, "You idiot, I didn't try to kill you in order to create a conflict in Bavaria. I created a conflict in Bavaria to try and kill you." That was a moment where I was like, damn, that is one of the hardest lines. Like that, the level of pettiness. That line catapulted him, again, not to the Heath Ledger tier of superhero villains, but right below that. Like, again, a lot of this is just like that A tier, not the S tier, but A tier. He just fucking nailed it. It was so good. I absolutely loved every moment Lex Luthor was on the screen. What did you think about him?
Yeah, I like Lex Luthor as well. One thing I noticed about, well, we actually mentioned the lows, that there weren't a lot of lows in the film. All of the lows, as far as I'm concerned, came from Lex Luthor. It's like the emotional lows. Like they went out of their way to let you know this is a bad guy. Okay, Lex Luthor. There's no, even Thanos level complexity here, where you're like, okay, if I squint, I can kind of see his
Mm-hmm.
point of view. No, Lex Luthor is awful. And if it wasn't driven home to you about halfway through the film, when they killed that poor dude who was selling food out of that food truck on my heat or something like that, I didn't see that coming. I did not. I did not expect them to just murder a guy in the middle of this film. I said, okay, all right, this is an irredeemable bad guy. We got it. But yeah, pulled off very well. Pulled off the hatred, the jealousy, and the rage. And I will say that one of the most unbelievable parts of film, of all the stuff in the movie. Of course, it's a superhero film. There's all types of wild shit there. But the fact that the world turned on Luthor when they found out the truth, insane. Insane. Come on. I think that we've seen billionaires do evil shit like that all the time, and they still have giant crowds of supporters. But I did enjoy the portrayal of Luthor in like the jealousy and the rage and everything. So I do agree with you there.
It was really cool. The whole monkey thing, absolutely brilliant. The rage bait monkey
Yeah.
is like, well done. Just a little tiny moment, as you said, levity, but also speaking about the real world, and also speaking, kind of getting out ahead. There was actually I saw a screenshot go around. There was one of the screens the monkeys was typing on was like, the new Superman sucks, Snyderverse forever, or something like that. Very, very funny.
No. They put that in
Yeah.
was that a meme or they put that in the movie?
I saw it was, again, this is unverified.
It's
I
gotta
saw
be
it
a
going
meme.
around
It's gotta
online.
be.
It might be incorrect, but it is something I feel like James Gunn would do.
That's hilarious.
Because you just know the fandom, right? But so with Lex Luthor, you said that he's clearly like, there's not a squint and see he's right. I actually kind of disagree with that to a certain extent, because I thought that Lex Luthor versus Superman, even since I was a kid, is something that I was like, that's weird. Like, I remember as a kid watching the original Superman movie and being like, well, I understand that Lex Luthor's like a greedy asshole and stuff, but like, usually you root for the smart guy to beat the strong guy. Like just traditional storytelling, you root. Someone has invincible superpowers and their adversary is a mortal man who's just smart. I'm gonna side with the mortal man. Like that, it's just like the general theme of that. And I think that they wrote Lex Luthor brilliantly, because they had that on. They even say the brain over brawn thing in the movie. And the reason it works so well is because Lex Luthor is kind of sort of right in some ways. He's clearly an egomaniacal asshole who's self-serving and doesn't even pretend to care about other people. And that's what I think that it did very well. He's like, I am the pinnacle. I saw you and I had to be the one to defend humanity. I had to put all of this on me, all of these burdens, and become something even greater than humanity could have ever accomplished without it. And it's that narcissism that drives him. But it's really real. Like it is grounded in reality. Whereas like Thanos, it's a squid, and I understand the point he's making, even though it's dumb, but like it just doesn't feel very grounded. It doesn't feel very real. Like, why is he really driven this much? You genuinely believe that Lex Luthor is driven by just pure spite and hatred of Superman, and it is very fun to watch. And he does make a somewhat compelling argument, and that's why I think the film does a really good job, is that Superman just defeats it by being good. Like that, he doesn't beat Lex Luthor by being stronger than him. He defeats Lex Luthor by just showing that his entire ideology is fucked. It is this strength over everything, might equals right mentality that is just proven wrong by Superman being mightier and still choosing to do good. And, that's such a pillar of Superman as a character. But I also think something that is particularly important to say, in this moment of time where the United States is ruled by another egomaniacal, narcissistic maniac.
Absolutely, absolutely. Brianna, shout out John saying thank you. I was thoroughly impressed with how overt the messaging was, but then was also very uncomfortable with the president visually being such an anti-Semitic caricature. So yeah, good catch there. And thank you again, Justin Greeky guy. A lot of women would love to be in the super harem. Okay, so that leads me to another thing I want to talk about. I can't tell you how much I love the decision to make Superman's parents Viltrumites. I love this. I love this because it's something I'd never seen before. I didn't see it coming at all. And to my knowledge, that hasn't been done in a Superman property before. Not in any movie or TV show or comic I've read. Maybe it has been, but I haven't seen it. And I mean, I guess you could say it's still ambiguous as if they actually were. It was kind of confirmed with Mr. Terrific, who they sell as the guy who would know if this was faked or not. So if they end up doing a switcheroo, I hope they don't, because I think that kind of sours like the part that the point that they did it in the first place. But the fact that Superman doesn't know what his parents say. He doesn't. Like the message is garbled, and then if he finds out, oh, actually, yeah, we want you to send you there to conquer the place. I did like that twist just to see how the world would react to it, and what Justin Geeky guy was talking about. I've seen a lot of jokes about this, that a lot of women saying, okay, well, what's the big deal here? Let's join the super harem. What did you think about that, John?
So first of all, I just took note on super harem. Yeah, no, that's why wouldn't they look at them?
Yeah,
like, I would pay exponentially more to watch the porn of Rachel Brosnan and David Cornsweet than I would the actual movie. So yeah, no, let's go for it. Philly native, by the way. But first of all, when they first came on screen, my first thought was, they look oddly like Viltrumites. Like they're even dressed in that gray. Yeah. Like I'm just like, that's a weird choice, maybe whatever. And then like it happened, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. A really interesting place to take. And I believe there have been interpretations of Superman like that. I'm not a Superman nerd. Like I know some storylines, sort of, but he's not my go-to superhero. But the theory that I heard that I really like is people were like, hey, why if fucking Kara, she's older.
Yeah, that's a kind of a flaw, right?
Why, but this is the explanation I heard that I absolutely loved and will be in my headcanon until proven otherwise. Why do you think it cut off exactly where it did, TJ? It was Kara got to it. Kara damaged the fucking message. Oh,
I like that.
To cut off at exactly that point.
I like that. I like that.
I like that theory. That's my headcanon until proven otherwise. But Kara is also an interesting character. We can talk about her a little bit. But yeah, the angle of they're Viltrumites and the Kryptonians are out. It kind of makes sense. Yeah. You know, it does. It also, I saw the theory that his dad there is actually Zod, pretending to be his dad. Or Zod sent that message or whatever. That's a potential thing. I don't fucking know. But yeah, it adds a dynamic to the story that I didn't see coming. It's difficult. I can't remember the last time I was watching a superhero movie and I was like, shit, I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah.
The fact that it was real, like you see it, you assume that Lex Luthor manipulated it. And it's like, no, it's fucking real. Like that's awesome. That's such a cool. And the fact that he's like, the whole message is like, you choose who you are. You are not predestined to be whatever it is that your ancestors chose for you to be. You choose who you get to be, and he chooses to be human. It's a beautiful message, and also the conflict of again, I said I wouldn't bring this up again, but it is the conflict, the ideological conflict of Man of Steel between Zod's predestined. You are born into a role that you must be for the rest of your life. And it's just done better in this movie. Like it's just done in a movie that isn't subtle in some of its messaging. It's done in a much more tactful way than it was beat over the head as the only conflict in Man of Steel.
Yeah, I was very happy. I remember, you know what? I thought this for 25, 30 years now, that I can't stand it when I'm watching a superhero film and I spend 70 minutes waiting for the person to become a superhero, where I got to watch
Mhm.
a boring origin story. This isn't like just because of superhero fatigue from the past 20 years. No, I've thought this my entire life, that it's boring as fuck. I don't need to
Yeah.
see Batman's parents get shot. I don't need to see Uncle Ben get shot. We all know this, right?
Yeah,
Your
we
average
needed it in the early 2000s when these movies were kind of brand new and like people didn't know these characters. At this point, we fucking know, guys.
I disagree, actually. I mean, if you go in to watch Spider-Man and you've never heard of Spider-Man, first off, really, you've never heard of the guy? But I think you could have a perfectly fine movie with like, oh, this guy's got spider powers. And you can maybe like tell, oh, that's, Michael Ben, tell the story. I don't need to see 40 minutes of him as a regular person before he becomes
Mhm.
a superhero, which I got tired of that. So I appreciated that it wasn't in the Superman film, but they snuck it in anyway and put something fucking interesting with it that you expect to hear the whole speech. Kal-El, be a good person. We love you. And I also appreciate the fact that I don't know if it's fake. It might be. It might be. But the beginning. The beginning works either way. The beginning works if he says like, Cal, we love you like the sun and the sea, or whatever they say, or something like that. And we're evil, by the way, because evil people would say that to their baby too. So I actually
Mhm.
kind of like that. I hadn't heard the Kara theory. For those of you who know what we're talking about, at the end of the movie, it turns out, oh god, fuck. I don't know if we're 40 minutes in. My god, I have so much more to say.
TJ, I am so okay
God
with this
damn.
going
Okay,
over an
cool,
hour.
cool,
If you
good,
wanted
good.
to, okay,
Perfect. Yes,
that's fine.
absolutely.
We promise, guys. The Left Wing Film Club is going to have more structured episodes in the future. But
Yeah, so
really,
first
me and
go.
TJ have just been waiting to like talk to each other about this for like a week now, and so we're going. So I hope you enjoy.
Okay. So, all right. I'm glad, because the Kara thing is interesting. I like the theory that she damaged the file somehow, because I don't know, she either, now maybe Clark's parent or Kal-El's parents were particularly evil Kryptonians, or maybe the whole society was like that and she was the one exception. She didn't want her cousin to grow up that way. But at the end of the movie, you find out that that Crypto, who I want to talk about actually right now, but that is not Superman's dog, but it's his cousin's dog. That actually, I went into this movie very, very excited about Crypto the Super Dog. I could not wait. I love seeing the little memes and the previews and the images, whatever. And Crypto, I was kind of annoyed by, honestly. Like, Crypto was kind of a shit dog. He annoyed Superman. He got in the way. And the fact that Crypto wasn't Superman's dog, I think was a mistake. I think that was a major mistake in this, because there's a really great scene where Superman flies into Lex Luthor's office. He kicks down the door. He flips over the desk, and he's yelling about the dog. Where's the dog? And when he's talking to Lois in front of the fight with the Justice Gang and the big firework creature, he says, or he's about to leave, he says, I'm going to go find where they took the dog. It doesn't, if it's my dog, like, that scene means 100 times more, where he says, they have my dog. I'm going to go get my dog. We can all relate to that. But the fact that he's always like, Crypto is just annoying him and it's the dog. I need to find the dog. And then, oh, that's why he says it's like a foster situation, is because he's dog sitting. I would have definitely changed that. Like, you can still have Supergirl come in later in the film, but I think it'd be improved, making the relationship between Crypto and Superman a lot stronger. What do you think?
This is so interesting. I'm gonna disagree with you. So this
Oh
might be
my
the biggest
god! Oh
disagreement
my
we have.
god!
So
Wow!
I went
Wow!
into the film not excited about Crypto. That was
Mm.
that's one thing from the trailer. I was like, CGI, another fucking CGI character. They should have just had a fucking dog. Whatever. That I was not expecting to like Crypto. And again, not a Superman guy. I don't really know the backstory of Crypto really at fucking all. I have know nothing about the fucking dog, right? But I thought the way he was utilized in the film was excellent, because to me it was more impactful when he's standing there I believe it was right after, like at the end of the scene where the Justice Gang is fighting in the background that we were talking about with Lois earlier, and he's like he's a dog, not even a very good dog, but he's scared and he needs help. It was such a just stripped down, raw, emotional moment of he's a scared dog and I'm going to go save him. Not because he's a good dog, not because he deserves it, not because he's my dog, but because he's scared and alone. and I would go and save a fucking squirrel. And I'm going to save this dog. And I feel like that speaks more to his character, that he would go all of that lengths to save a dog that isn't even his. Because you're right. Yeah, it would be more emotionally impactful for him if it was his dog, John Wick style. But you want that? I'll just go watch fucking John Wick, right? That's not what this film was. And not only did that speak to his character even more than if it was his dog, but it also does so much character building for Kara. Like, I can't tell you how excited I am for the Supergirl movie now. If you would have asked me before watching this movie, hey, are you excited about a Supergirl movie? I'd be like, I guess. I don't know. Who's fucking in it? Who's going to make it? I'm so pumped for it now. Because that dog builds her character so much, and then it's revealed, and you're like, yeah, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. That I know this person in real life. You know, I know this person who has this shit fucking dog that can't behave because they don't have their shit together, but they have this fucking dog and they care about it a lot. It builds that character again. One of the things that this movie does so well is that it not only works as a movie, but it builds so many characters to launch an entire universe off of. And I thought that this utilization of Crypto did that so incredibly well. But again, I see your interpretation of it. I just think that what was done in the film served the film very well.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not some mortal sin for the film to do that or whatever. I just, I don't know. I wanted to really love Crypto, and I found him mostly annoying. Honestly, I felt the same way Superman. I was like, okay, I identify Superman here.
Then it was a success.
No,
it was a success.
But I didn't want to feel that way. I wanted to feel like a bond between a man and his dog. And it's like, oh, a man and his cousin's dog who's very annoying. And then like every face Superman made with Crypto, face I made. I mean, yeah, like, you know, mission accomplished if that was the goal. But I didn't like the end goal of that. And okay, with Supergirl's character that we're talking about, I didn't, of course, I mean, I don't know if you knew she was going to be in the movie or not. I didn't know that she'd show up. I thought that was a pretty cool twist right there at the end. And I actually, I didn't know this, but apparently her having a drinking problem is a canonical thing in the comics. I didn't know that.
I learned about this afterwards, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't know that either. That she, for those who wanted the story with Supergirl, she is Kara-El. She's Superman's cousin who's older than her. I think she's a teenager when Krypton blows up. And her parents sent her to Earth too, but her ship got, fucked up in like, I don't know, a black hole or some time travel thing or whatever. So she shows up to Earth, but it's 30 years later when her cousin's a grown man, like the baby she was supposed to protect. And so now her entire mission that she had been sent there for is off. She doesn't know who she is. Her planet is gone. The kid she was supposed to watch is now twice as old as she is. And he's a superhero. And now she's got to be one too. So she has a hard time coping with that as a teenage girl. And so, or maybe in her 20s, I don't know. But, so she goes and she has a drinking problem. I guess that's kind of a common thing. So yeah, I would be interested to see more from Supergirl. I thought she was a good addition. I wouldn't have changed that part. But Crypto being her dog, I don't know. It was cute, but whatever.
I like it. So first of all, Maury Stewart asks, what would be your Justice League lineup? Let's answer that real quick before we get back to the movie. I mean, I can't. It can't be this Green Lantern. It has to be a different Green Lantern, I think. Right?
Why? Okay, let's go. All right, let's.
Okay. Let's talk about the periphery characters here.
Okay, all right. So one of the best parts of the movie I thought was the Justice Gang, in that not necessarily. Well, yeah, the group is because my point is this would be a very, very easy thing to fuck up. It would be so easy. In fact, I think more likely than not that adding these periphery characters that don't need to be there. Like you can do a Superman movie with just Superman most of the time it is. And then Green Lantern, who's never had a successful, live action appearance, has never happened. Honestly, and as far as superheroes go, a lot of people probably don't even know. They certainly don't know this Green Lantern. Yeah, Hawk Girl, they might know. I had never fucking heard of Mr. Fantastic. I'd never heard of, not Mr. Terrific. I called him Mr. Fantastic. There you go. I didn't know this character at all. And they knocked it out of the fucking park. Green Lantern with the goofy haircut is what everybody talked about at first. Of course, it's comic accurate or whatever. But the guy, I don't know the guy's name who played Green Lantern. I thought he was a friend of James Gunn's. He's been in a few films, whatever. Excellent. I mean, I don't even think you need a new Green Lantern. I'd love to see more from that character. That being like a grumpy ass bully and being the Green Lantern, I thought was great. Did you disagree? You didn't like this Green Lantern?
So okay, no, it's not that I didn't like the Green Lantern, and actually, I'll eat my statement there a little bit because I was gonna say that this character of Green Lantern feels incredibly great as a supporting character. I don't know how you build a movie around this particular character, but then again, James Gunn took Peacemaker and made a whole fucking TV show about him, and it was fucking awesome. And so, you know what? That's actually one of the things that impressed me most is it really felt like, because I have that proof of concept, that any one of these one-off characters could be excellent, could have a whole backstory behind them, could support on their own in a way that I feel like Marvel really fucked up, in that they made some characters one-off jokes to serve one movie, and then it just fucked up their presence in the rest of the MCU. It feels like James Gunn he still utilizes those kind of jokey characters in small bits, but it feels like there's a whole story ready to be told with each and every one of them. Like, for example, with Hawkgirl, when she drops, Bibi Netanyahu, it's like, I'm not Superman. I'm like, oh shit, I kind of want to see more of this girl. I don't know. I really don't know much about her from the movie, but I'm interested to learn more. And it really does a good job of that. I feel like that what will happen with Lanterns, again, I'm not a Green Lantern guy or whatever, but it feels like I know that there's multiple Green Lantern, like a lot of Green Lanterns, and it probably is going to be a passing of the torch situation to a more leading man Green Lantern, because I mean, what you're gonna anything could happen, right? But he's not a bankable star. I just don't see that him having his own fucking Green Lantern movie with the character and the actor as is. I could be wrong.
Well, I wasn't, but I guess that's. I mean, I would agree with that. I thought we were talking about Justice League movie. I thought.
And having Green Lantern in that version of Justice League. Yeah, it depends. I don't know. Again, I don't really care. It's going to be. Oh shit! Was it Nathan Fillion? I didn't even fucking know that. Oh wow, it makes a lot of sense. That was Nathan Fillion. Okay, Nathan Fillion could probably carry his own role. I don't know. Who knows? Point is, I don't really care. I feel like it's in good hands. And the other thing James Gunn said was, yeah, every movie is going to be tonally different. Like, it's going to be completely tonally different, and that's the biggest problem. The MCU, they just refuse to let any individual movie stand completely on its own. And that's not going to be the case, and I fucking love that. You're bringing up a picture of Mr. Terrific here. I would love to hear your thoughts on Mr. Terrific.
Brendan said Mr. Terrific was great. You leave wanting to know so much more about him. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, this is a character I'd never heard of. I remember I didn't know who Mr. Terrific was until I saw commercials and trailers for this film. And I was like, oh, who's the guy with the weird mask? And it says Mr. Terrific. I was like, okay, I have no idea who this is. I didn't know what to expect. Scene stealer extraordinaire. This guy, Edie, I can't remember his last name, but he played. Did you ever see X-Men First Class, John?
Yes, I saw X-Men.
Okay, so for those of you who watched X-Men First Class, which is one of my favorite X-Men films, he plays the character of Darwin. And if you guys have seen X-Men First Class,
I know you just said, and I agree with that statement, but he's so terribly used in that. That character is wasted in that film.
It is one of the. When I watched, first off, I actually waited to watch X-Men First Class because I loved X-Men 1. I liked X-Men 2 even better. X-Men 3, I said, no, this is not
funny.
good.
It's a guilty pleasure for me. I understand it's not good. I still like it.
I didn't like it at all. And then they did X-Men Origins Wolverine afterward. And that is in the running for worst film I've ever seen. It is just dog shit, start to finish. And I said, okay, I guess they're out of good X-Men movies. And then X-Men First Class came out next. And I didn't watch it because why would I? I've done 2 shitty ones in a row.
And I was like, fuck this. They already perfectly casted Professor X. They already perfectly casted Magneto. How could they possibly do it again? Boy, was I wrong about that.
Holy shit. X-Men First Class is fantastic. I mean, if someone ever tells you that X-Men First Class is a bad film, don't take their advice on any movie from that day forward. However, one glaring ass flaw in this film is the character of Darwin, whose ability is that he can survive anything. And this isn't just like, this is his ability and they changed it for the movie. No, they tell you. And they show you in the movie of him adapting to any danger at all. And then And then, what's the guy's name? Brian. I can't remember the bad
I
guy's
forget.
name.
That's
His
what
name.
it's the other flaw. It's the Hellfire Club leader guy. Whatever. His name
Brian
is.
Shaw, I think. I think Brian Shaw's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he takes a ball of energy and places it in Darwin's mouth and says, "Adapt to this," and he doesn't, and he dies.
For
And
no reason,
yeah,
unexplained.
and at the time I'm watching the movie, I was like, okay, did I misunderstand this character? Is there some sort of he's not resistant to energy, he can't do it, and he even like what makes it worse is that when he swallows it, his body like turns to ashes and looks like he's adapting, and then he dies. I kept waiting for him to come back. It didn't happen. As like, okay, they did
And it
this.
never does. It never, for the rest of the movies, it never does.
It horrible. Like for such a good movie, it's like such a bad plot point. But I didn't know that was him until after the movie, and so I was glad to see that they got him in another superhero role. Where I mean, honestly, if David Cornsweet isn't your like the go-to reason to watch this movie, every scene with Edie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific is like you won't forget it. Like the way that character is handled, the way that he interacts with people, the like he's funny and he's smart, he's interesting, and his abilities are entertaining. I just can't say enough good about that character.
No, easily, TJ. If you're gonna like say like winners and losers from this film, Mr. Terrific. What was it? What was the character? The actor's name?
Edie Gathegi.
Edie Gathegi. He's clearly by far and away the biggest riser in the film because again, no one knew who the fuck Mr. Terrific was. I didn't. I had never. I'm
heard of him.
Relative pretty like not like intense comic book nerd, but I enjoy learning about comic book lore quite a bit. It's I'll put on YouTube fucking explainer videos just when I'm doing dishes and shit because I enjoy just learning about the shit. I'd never heard of this guy before. It's funny you call him Mr. Fantastic. I've since learned he put together his own version of the Fantastic Four in the comics, and they're so going to make that now because he is such a hit. Everyone fucking loved him. The scene with him and Lois Lane on the beach, and Lois Lane's stuck in the force field, and he's beating the shit out of everyone. And Lois Lane is a cold as nails, fucking really, she's a mortal human, but she's tough as shit. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? And he's just like, casual day at the office. First of all, I'm a sucker for like superpowers and heroes that like they move things with their mind and don't have to move themselves and beat the shit out of everyone and just are calm completely. That's always just a trope that fucking knocks it out of the park for me. I love my Magneto, I love my Gara for like the same fucking reasons, and he does that. And he's gonna have his own fucking like big movie now. Like again, it might not have been in the plans, but he's gonna have his own big movie. The Elemental guy is part of the fucking Terrifics, whatever. So they're totally planning on making that movie, and he absolutely nailed it. He also, I just had to say, like the entire time he was on the screen, it just felt like he was channeling Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
did you also have that thought?
Yeah, Bob said that. Yeah.
And it's very funny. Like it's played to the same laughs. And it works so well. I actually would love to see him and Pattinson Batman together. Like that would be a wonderful fucking combo.
Yeah, fantastic. You know what?
Wait, teacher. One more. I have to say this one more
time.
That's how you fucking use CGI in a fight scene, by the way. Like it's so fun and whimsical and interesting instead of just having, we're gonna have big CGI spectacle, big dragon, whatever the fuck, big explosions. No, bring it down, have the camera be actually in the scene, make it feel like a real scene, and have interesting camera movement and interesting things going on. And it just doesn't matter. James Gunn does it better than most in the business when it comes to CGI fight scenes.
Yeah, I didn't think of this at the time, but later on, that Mr. Terrific is like that scene where he's using, I forget what they're called, the Terrific Spheres or something to attack all the T-Spheres or whatever. And that's Yondu, like the same thing from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yondu, another example. I just fucking love these characters.
Yeah. And the reason I think that the Mr. Terrific scene is better than the Yondu scene is what you mentioned because of Lois Lane, where Lois Lane is the fish out of water like we are. Because if you take Lois out of that scene, it's still good, but not nearly as good. It isn't nearly as good as watching Lois react the same way that we're reacting to, by the way, to a character I'd never seen before. So I didn't know exactly what his abilities were. So watching that was excellent directing. I mean, really, 5 stars.
He was also a mortal human, by the way.
Also, just a regular, exactly.
No superpowers.
That's pretty fun. And it's Metamorpho. That's the character you're talking about with the elements or whatever.
Not elemental.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Elementor is what Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark would refer to him as the whole movie, despite him being called multiple times. It was it was Metamorpho. Okay. So, any other tangential background character notes?
Oh boy. Oh well, tangential. Oh yes, absolutely. Oh yeah. All right. I don't know who this chick is. Uh, her name, I looked it up because I didn't know who she was. Her name is Kat something, and she works at the Daily Planet. But she's in maybe 3 or 4 scenes, and for the life of me, I can't tell you why. I mean, I can tell you why. It's for eye candy, but that's it. And I remember thinking, this character does not need to fucking be here. Maybe they're going to expand with her or something in a future film or future property, but I don't need to see like 9 seconds of bouncing tits just for no reason in a superhero film. And why is she there? It actually bugged me because I kept waiting for something to happen with this bitch, and nothing happened at all. She just kind of hung out in the background of the Daily Planet, and she was on the spaceship for some reason, or Mr. Terrific ship for some reason, and that's it. That's it. Odd decision to put her. And by the way, not even a character. You didn't know who she was either, right? And we're not strangers to the Superman property, right? I had never fucking heard of her. But yeah, what did you think?
So I'm not upset in the way that you seem to be.
I'm upset, man.
Here's my thing. It was very, very clear to me from the casting decisions that were made and just the way the characters were handled. The Daily Planet is going to have a TV show. Like that is very clear to me. Between having Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane as a bankable television star that can carry a television series, you have, and I always forget his name, but the guy from damn it, the diet, the fucking one with 50 First Dates girl. We're really struggling at this point in the show. We're past an hour. We weren't supposed to be here. But that entire cast of the Daily Planet is all bankable TV stars. And again, I don't know who she is, but it just feels like they're including her there because she's going to be in something in the future. You're right. She didn't serve the film at all. And it's weird because, like, you say eye candy. She wasn't even eye candy. She's satirical.
Yes, it was annoying.
So,
yes.
There's a shoe left to drop there that never dropped in the movie. And so I get how you're feeling. And I'm just like, it didn't take away from anything, so I just assume they're setting up the Daily Planet for something down the line. To speak though to the other Daily Planet guys, the sports guy, fucking hilarious. The chief, he had like 3 lines in the film and he nailed all of them.
He did.
That's like there's no small parts for small actors. Every single delivery, nailed it. And the guy from
Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy Olsen. Absolutely perfect cast, perfectly acted. Could not ask for more from Jimmy Olsen.
This is another thing. I guess I knew a lot less about, so I would have put myself up there with like Superman knowledge with anybody, but is there some kind of running joke with Jimmy Olsen being a chick magnet? I'd never heard of this, but the movie went out of their way that every scene Jimmy is being eyed up and down by every woman in the frame, and he's tagging Lex Luthor's side piece or whatever and everything. Like women far out of his league are just dying to get with Jimmy Olsen. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a common thing in Superman comics or properties, but it was funny. I enjoyed Jimmy Olsen's character too.
I don't know if that's like a thing in the comics or whatever. I'm sure there might be adaptation. I feel like Jimmy Olsen's one of those characters that like he's Superman's buddy. He doesn't really have a canonical you have to be this sort of storyline. He just fits whatever premise it is. Like in My Adventures of Superman. Have you seen My Adventures of Superman?
No.
Animated show. It's on fucking HBO Max. Pretty damn good. Really enjoyed it. A little bit more childish, but fun. Jimmy Olsen's like this fucking like conspiracy nerd, influencer guy. Like he changes a lot from property to property, but I think that it was brilliantly executed. He was absolutely awesome. They cast the exact right actor for that. Any girls in the comments right now, I need to know, is he a panty dropper? I gotta know. Yeah. Feels like one of those things where he could be, or it's supposed to be funny. I'm kind of he's not my type, so it's hard for me to say.
incredibly bold of John to assume there are any girls in our chat. But I have to.
Brianna here. She's a girl.
So yeah, there we go. I wanted to bring this up in the beginning of the episode. I can't believe I forgot to. I think we can admit the trunks were a mistake. I think that.
Really?
Oh my God! I can't believe we're disagreeing on this. Okay, but listen, when the first image came out of Superman, putting on his boots with like the thing in the background that turned out to be a joke, which I loved. A lot of people were ragging on the suit, saying that it was too marvelly. It wasn't sleek. It had looked like Kevlar and shit. And I said, no, I kind of like the suit. I don't know what the deal is. I like the boots. I like the weird little Kevlar lines and stuff. And they said that, and he's got the trunks. I thought we'd outgrown those. I said, no, let's not jump to conclusions here. Let's wait to see how it looks in live action when it's actually on screen and everything. And I went in pro trunks, watching the movie, anti trunks. No, I don't like them. I think that you could have done the trunks better than this, or not included them at all. Like just the blue suit and the red belt, I think works better. But I think I would have liked it without the trunks. I know that was so you disagree? You think that they look pretty good, huh?
So I'm not going to say I'm pro or anti-trunks specifically, but I think that the costume design itself played thematically into what I was discussing earlier with a return to this hope core. And you go from this, you go to the graphics that they used for like the Superman title card, the credits at the end, just everything about it is a return to this hopeful, colorful version of Superman. And I think that the costume design, particularly after the last 20 years of realistic militarized costume designs, makes a lot of sense. Like it fits the movie to me. So to me, aesthetically, I didn't really even think about it other than, yeah, that fits exactly the message that this movie is trying to convey, and it works perfectly for that. And yeah, it's intentionally dorky. The character is intentionally dorky, and that's the point. So again, I'm not like feeling strongly about the trunks. If they didn't exist, it wouldn't bother me. But I do think that it serves the purpose that it was trying to serve effectively, and that's, I don't have a personal feeling about it, I should say.
So I think that's what you're talking about, Colby. Colby asked TJ, "Have you seen the quote on why David wears them?" I think what you're talking about is the same thing John said, that
I haven't seen the quote, by the way. If I have independently arrived at the same conclusion, I'm very proud of myself.
I think he said the same thing. He said that this, correct me if I'm wrong, Colby, but he said that this Superman isn't trying to scare children or anything or look cool. He's trying to show that he's a beacon of hope. And yeah, sometimes it's kind of funny and kind of goofy. I'm just here to help you guys out. I'm not intimidating. And yeah, I'm even going to wear these goofy trunks and it'll be cool. And fuck that. No, I don't like it. This is look, that might be the Wolfie is scratching the shit out of me. Hold on. Sorry. But that might be the in-universe explanation. But and I get it, but I still don't think it looks good. That's all that I'm going with. It's just that it kind of reminds me of, this isn't quite as egregious, but in what's the Revenge of the Sith, that Padme dies of a broken heart at the end of the movie, which is absurd and ridiculous. And I brought this up to people and I say, yeah, listen, the Star Wars universe, people should not be dying of broken hearts with the technology they have. That is insanity. And they'll be like, oh no, TJ, you don't understand. Padme's heart was broken. So she died. I was like, no, I get it. I got it. I understand what you're saying. I'm still saying it's fucking stupid. Like, I don't care if there's an in-universe explanation for it. Yeah, I actually don't feel this powerfully about the trunks, but I went in hoping to like them and I didn't. So that's how I feel that way. Brendan says, this was an unapologetic comic book movie. The suit was definitely a part of that. I got it, folks. I just don't think it looks good. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
It's okay. TJ, you're allowed to be wrong about something.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't look good. I'm sorry. It's just, I think that there's plenty of goofy comic book shit that actually is very pleasing to the eye. I don't put that on the list. Speaking of comic book shit, I did like the fact that I don't know how to put this. Metropolis is insane. The city of Metropolis is absurd. It is so every scene with regular people is more ridiculous than the last. The
Yep.
fact that Lex Luthor's minions weren't mustache twirling villains, they were just people at work just trying to get the job done, I thought was great. It was a good example that, yeah, regular people do shitty things all the time. The fact that there was the giant monster that started out as a small monster who they fucking killed, by the way. I felt so bad for that monster. I thought that it didn't deserve to die. It didn't know what it was doing. But the fact that the people were only kind of annoyed by this giant monster, it didn't look like they were, reacting in absolute terror. Like, oh yeah, like we have people that, create green objects with their minds. We got a lady with wings that goes around, and there's Superman's here. So yeah, there's a big monster. We don't care. I don't know. I did enjoy Metropolis and how absolutely goofy it was.
I'm so glad you touched on the LexCorp employees, because that is, there's a lot of political messages in this movie, and that is one of them. Of these are just regular ass people just doing their jobs well, and it's particularly the crew chief, the black guy. I don't know if he has a name in the film, but like he's just such a they're putting that monster out there, and he's just kind of like very nonchalant about it, just like any of us would be, like going to the office 9 to 5. And it just speaks exactly to that, like the way that corporate America whitewashes their evil to make it palatable to just everyday people. It really speaks to that quite effectively. And the monster, it's just such a, again, just like one of those small little touches. A lesser director and writer would have just had a fucking monster. It didn't need to have that cute little backstory.
It was adorable.
But it did. It was adorable. And it makes you actually feel when the Justice Gang kills him. It makes sense. Like it's a little tiny thing that makes the movie that much better. And that's one of those things that take it from, a B+ into the A tiers, in my opinion. I want to circle back there to LexCorp.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like we've talked enough about Lex Luthor, because again, he's such a great character. He's so well acted in this movie. Did you have any other thoughts? I'll just throw this over to you with him and how he specifically ties into the Israeli plotline, and how that then is also all intertwined with the American politics.
I liked I looked at it more as the intertwined with American politics part, like, because this was kind of subtle. This was pretty subtle in how Lex Luthor's power is. Well, actually, it wasn't. Actually, he meets with the heads of government like 3 or 4 different times. Yeah. It wasn't subtle at all. They really laid on thick that he is like really crucial in shaping foreign policy, and how billionaires can actually cause major countries to go into conflict with each other and drag us all along, whether we want to or not, which is why it annoyed me that when it was exposed, the people revolted against them, which I get, it's a comic book, whatever, like that wouldn't happen in real life. People are like, yep, based, absolutely. This is what our betters should be doing. The only thing I would change about Lex Luthor is I would go woke with Lex Luthor, and I would make Lex Luthor black, mainly because of the cartoon, the Superman cartoon. Back in the day, you ever watch that? The Adventures of Superman that used to come on. It came on when you were a really little kid. So
I definitely watched it at some point.
Yeah,
I wasn't particularly attached to it.
Okay, well, the Lex Luthor in that show is racially ambiguous, and he's bald with a really deep voice. I thought he was black. I thought the character was black for a long time, and a lot of other people did too. But I think that I just want to see that Lex Luthor return, because we've seen lots of different variations of Lex Luthor. The Gene Hackman Lex Luthor with the hair, the young Lex Luthor in both Smallville or Man of Steel and everything, like a neurotic Lex Luthor. I want to see a big burly Lex Luthor, preferably a black guy. It just adds a little touch to it that I think is different for the character. Not necessary, of course, but that's the only thing I would have. Not a necessary change, but one that I would have done.
Yeah, Lex Luthor, he has to be bald. Yeah, like very much he has to be bald. That's like the only thing that he has to be is bald. Yeah. Or at least bald eventually. You're allowed to have a pre-bald Lex Luthor in the movie, as long as he eventually becomes bald. But the racial ambiguity thing, I would have actually not minded if, as you said, he was more woke, like more performatively woke.
Mhm.
I would have enjoyed that aspect because it he doesn't really have a political, like his entire persona is I'm a rich megalomaniacal
Yeah.
maniac. And like there's not like a political message in Lex Luthor himself. There's obviously a political message of big business being intertwined with the government in order to create, geopolitical conflicts. Like again, this is what is happening in our reality. Like this is very, very much what is happening. Not even like we're speculating about this. The president of the United States, who is a whatever the
It's a
fuck
hard
the
word to
word
say.
is. I've said it
Megalomaniacal.
too
It's a
many
hard
times.
word to say. Yeah.
Megalomaniacal maniac, egotistical narcissist is literally explicitly continuing the conflict in Gaza because he wants America to take the beachfront property in Gaza as a real estate deal. He
Yeah.
regularly talks about it as a real estate deal. This is not something that is surprising. Also, a nice little callback to the original Lex Luthor from the Superman, because like his thing was, I was just gonna like blow up the Western seaboard to like make my property values in the middle of the desert more valuable. Like very, very nice little callback there in the film. But yeah, like that's definitely real. But he doesn't get too much into it in
Mhm.
terms of the politics. And it would have been interesting if they made him a Democrat explicitly. I think that would have been cool. But I will say, I thought Lois Lane was very interesting politically. And her message in the film, because obviously Lois Lane is a good guy, but she is a lancer to Superman. She foils him. It's part of the reason why it's the climax of the movie when they get together at the end, because she kind of represents that. Hey, I really don't know if you made the right decision. We're going back to the interview. Made the right decision in stepping into this geopolitical conflict. You really didn't think about it. And Superman just goes, people were dying. And it's such an emotionally impactful line because it's how we have all felt for the last year and a half, at least, with this particular conflict that the movie's talking about. But it also speaks to, hey, I'm not Superman. I'm just a mortal human who's experienced all of these things in life. I'm cynical and jaded. And I don't know. I don't feel like I have the moral authority to just unilaterally make those decisions. And it does speak to the nuances of what we have to deal with on our side of the aisle of there's right and wrong, but there's also nuance. And it's hard to, again, I'm not saying there's nuance to the genocide going on in Gaza, don't get me wrong, but there's nuance that we can get trapped up with in these arguments. And it's like, yeah, but Lois, you're wrong. These people are dying and we need to save them. And I did particularly like that message of the movie. How did you feel like that was handled?
No, I agree. I agree because that's actually the problem with superhero fantasy, that it is about, hey, the powerful people get to make the right decisions, which I mean get to make the decision, which is how the world works. But like the fantasy that if I had the power, I would change it and everything. And it's demonstrative of the fact that something I always like to say is that, I have my principles until I don't. That's how I always put it. In that,
Mm-hmm.
like if let's say you were Supreme Court justice in the 1830s or whatever, and you're there, you're doing your job, and you're trying to interpret the Constitution. There's no 14th Amendment; it doesn't exist, or whatever. And if it comes like the Dred Scott decision, later, or the issue of slavery itself, now, according to your principles, I'm going to follow what the Constitution says. But according to your job, and then your principles like, well, actually, no, fuck that. I'm going to vote against this. Well, I don't care if it's illegal or not. I'm going to make the right decision. And I think that's kind of how superheroes work. That, yeah, taking the law into your own hands, and we'd all love to drop a war criminal from the stratosphere, but would you really do that? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's a great conflict. It's a great question. So yeah, Lois is a good like moral barometer there for Superman, because like they are good questions. Like I said, they're neither of them are wrong in their approach to this.
All right, so I've put together a little scoring rubric for us. But before we get to our final review here, Any other notes that you want to touch on?
Well, okay. So, lightning round on this. I loved Ma and Pa Kent. One of
Oh,
the
wonderful,
sweetest,
wonderful.
one of the
Yep.
sweetest scenes in the film is after word gets out that Superman has been sent to conquer planet Earth and take a harem of women and populate the world with little Viltrumites. And he goes back home and he picks up his phone. It says 22 missed calls from Ma and Pa. Melted my heart. Absolutely loved that. I thought that was adorable. And the characters.
The scene with Pa Kent is just that was a tearjerker. Like that was just like, yeah, he sat you down and we're gonna sit here, we're gonna have a conversation, and it's gonna be just face, and it's just gonna tear your fucking heart out, and it did it very well.
Yes, Brianna's correct. So goddamn wholesome. I could have used a couple more scenes with Ma and Pa Kent. Actually, I love them. It did make me sad that knowing what we actually know, that if Ma and Pa Kent actually existed, they would be fascist Trump supporters, which is kind of sad to think about. Also, let's see, I hated the music. The music I did not like at all. So the classic Superman score.
Yeah.
They had this thing where they did it with an electric guitar throughout the whole film. Couldn't stand it. Could not.
Really?
It didn't sound right. I didn't like it at all. I also didn't like that, like Superman liked that band, and they kept playing that song, "Cause I'm a punk rocker, yes I am." I didn't like that song.
No, okay,
I heard it like 10 times.
I love it.
No!
It's like
well,
like
we're just diverging here. We're just
like in How I Met Your Mother when they play I would walk 500 miles, like it comes around, don't worry about it. That's what happened to me. At first I was like, oh, this is dumb, but I've heard it more and more now, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of fucking with this now.
Okay, yeah, it grew on you, but yeah, it's not a good song. I just didn't like how it sounded. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and they kept insisting that I like it. It's okay, no, folks, I'm not.
Upon itself.
It insists upon itself. It's like The Godfather, exactly. And I also wrote, Hot Girl. Hot Girl, we didn't talk about too much, but she was easily the weakest of the Justice Gang. They didn't have a whole lot to do. They, redeemed it with her killing Netanyahu at the end right there. I mean, nothing wrong with the character, but just her appearance too. Hot Girl is usually like a tall blonde woman or something. So having like a tiny Latina woman was a bold choice, and it worked though. I liked the hypno glasses thing. Anyone who's familiar with Superman at all knows that one of the many complaints people have had for damn near 100 years now, that it's kind of ridiculous that Superman's costume is actually Clark Kent with the glasses, that no one can tell that this guy is Superman. And I think it's Green Lantern. He's talking to Lois Lane. And he says, "Oh, so you know about the hypno glasses, right? That what you see is different than what he actually is, or whatever." I need to know how these hypno glasses work. Does everyone see the same Clark Kent, or does everyone see a different Clark Kent? Like, is someone saying, "Oh yeah, Clark Kent is an Asian guy or something"? I need to know exactly. I want the lore on the hypno glasses. I thought that was great.
It's gonna be a hardest timey-wimey shit. Like it just works because it does.
Yeah. I want to see a lot more of that. And I also wrote down, oh shit, I can't. This is actually about you. I put in quotes like John, of course, would use the word lancer. Like you're whipping out a literary term. Like, I know this is a film review or some shit. Of course, John fucking Cooper. Like, well, this is this.
I did go to film school, by the way.
This is I'm surprised you didn't say like deuteragonist or something. Like,
TJ, no, I have to. This is off the rails here, but I watched your video explaining of your dad and the
the verbal advantage.
The verbal advantage, and I was literally like, this explains so much. This is why TJ often uses just these random big words for no reason. It's funny when I said that and I saw you right now. I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna get kicked out.
And one more thing, which I actually meant to bring up a long time ago, but that Superman and Supergirl, that canonically Superman wanted to marry Supergirl. This is actually it's an actual Superman comic.
Who was his cousin?
Who is his cousin? And but he can't marry her. He can't, and it's not for the reason you'd hope. And so here is the actual comic strip. It's from the 60s, I think. But Superman says right here, after the duo returns through the time barrier, it's to the fortress, 1962, and Kara says, Superman, I have a confession to make. I wanted to arrange a happy marriage for you. I failed both times. And Superman says, if I ever did marry, it would be to someone super and lovable like you. We can't marry, though, because we're cousins. Though cousins can marry in certain countries here on Earth, we're both from Krypton, where marriage of cousins is unlawful. So the only reason Superman is not marrying his cousin, according to this one Superman comic from 63 years ago, is because Kryptonian law forbids it. If it didn't, he would. So yeah, just wanted to bring that up. Just
all I have to say about that is kind of shit that I feel like Zack Snyder fans would really enjoy.
But yeah, I think that's my lightning round. I think that's all the rest stuff I had.
All right. Well, let's move on to the scoring here. TJ, as we said, we did zero prep for this. We probably should have talked about some sort of structure, but I put together a little scoring rubric that we'll make a graphic for in future episodes. But I have 5 categories and then a final score. Right. So we have visuals. So anything visual, performance, writing, politics, and overall entertainment value, and then a final score. All right. Does that seem like a pretty solid way to divvy this up? Yeah. So visuals of this movie on a scale of, well, let's do this letter grades. I like letter grades.
Okay.
What did you say letter grade is?
I gotta give it an A for visuals. One thing I really enjoyed was how, I didn't mention this, how often there were these like cyclical shots in the sky. There was a lot of spinning. They worked a lot with the rotating the camera around with the flight, not just with Superman flying, but even a lot of the fight scenes he was spinning around. Oh, we didn't even bring up Ultraman, really, that at the end there was pretty good. I thought Ultraman was supposed to be Bizarro, like a clone of Superman that was dumb. I don't know if that was what they were going for, but that was my guess.
Well, Bizarro's like the anti. Again, I'm not a Superman lore guy. I would be very not surprised if he survived the black hole.
Yeah. I hope that's the case. Yeah,
that would make a lot of sense.
It would, because like he has no brain or whatever, so he's stupid. Okay, that would work with Bizarro or whatever. But yeah, visually, I don't have it. Oh, goddamn, that scene we talked about with the background comedy with the Justice Gang fighting the big jellyfish creature, gorgeous. It looked like a fireworks show. It was amazing. So yeah, I have a hard time giving anything other than an A for the visuals.
Yeah, there were. I would put it at a B plus because I agree with everything that you said there. I just feel like shot to shot, there was nothing that, like, in order to be an A to me, it's like it has to be either just perfect execution of a simple thing or something new and exciting. And I didn't feel like it brought too much that was new and exciting. Okay. A lot of the coolest shots, like I said, I feel like the terrific fight on the beach, probably the most visually engaging scene, but also kind of stolen from other James Gunn
he loves
films already. Like I didn't do anything new or special. I'd kind of put it, and I didn't like the general gloss of the film. I just felt like it was fine. It was like Spider-Verse is a S tier visual, right. And it is far enough away from that I couldn't possibly put it in an A tier. Does that make sense?
All right. Yeah, this is kind of tricky though, because if we're going with visuals, you grade each movie differently. Because
it doesn't do anything new or exciting. Yeah, like the visuals are good, they're fun, you have some really cool moments, but I'm not blown away by the visuals. That's why I said B+, a solid B+.
Fair point. Cool.
So performances. Just the actual acting of the actors on screen. What do you give that?
That one I feel more comfortable with B+ too, because like I thought Corn Sweat couldn't have been better as both Superman and Clark Kent. Mr. Terrific jumped out. I think, I don't know, like there's nothing bad, but outside of Corn Sweat, I think I would have a hard time saying that was some of the best acting I've ever seen. I'm gonna go B+ on that one.
So I would put that at an A. I would switch that to an A just because I thought that the number of incredibly well casted good performances outweighs the fact that they didn't have any. Because you're right, they don't have a Heath Ledger there. They don't have a real heavy hitter. I feel like Nicholas Hoult did a fantastic job, but still not quite that top tier villains, but just the consistency of the performances across the board. That's what, but I will also downgrade that to a B+, because I think that's totally fair. The writing, I thought that it's an A movie for me. If not an A plus, just so many memorable lines. The writing was the more I think about the writing, it's so economical. The fact that they put that 12-minute fucking argument scene in the movie and it felt like it lasted 3 minutes because it was so well done. I just thought the writing, especially for a superhero movie, absolutely phenomenal.
All right, we greatly diverge here. I'm giving the writing a
Really?
B. Yeah, I'm giving the writing a B because like there are parts that I really like the argument scene, really good. I forgot to mention this. I'm glad. I thought I might be the only one who thinks this. I might be the only person in America who thinks this. I thought one of the weakest parts of the movie was Superman's speech to Lex Luthor at the end, where he's talking about how human he is. I thought it was really ham-fisted. I thought it was overwrought. Yeah,
Yep.
I was like, man. And that's actually why I'm giving the writing a B. Not because I thought it was bad, and B isn't bad, but I never felt, and I felt this way in a lot of superhero films, is like, wow, this is really emotionally powerful. I've been waiting for this release, this cathartic part. It never really happened. I guess you could say Superman kissing Lois, but that's not what
Again, that's the climax of the movie, TJ.
it's just not. Yeah, it's not. It didn't do it for me. It's not what I was waiting for, and I just never felt. Once again, the emotional ties with the characters. I didn't feel it with Lois and Clark. I didn't feel it with Clark and Crypto. I didn't feel like a super strong bond between anybody. And I just it just didn't work for me. But I mean, not that it was bad, but honestly, one of the biggest emotional points was Superman talking to his cousin and like how annoyed he was. And I felt that a lot because all I could imagine is if I were a superhero and I'm getting my ass kicked by a clone of myself and a lady who can turn herself into a billion robots who almost drowns me, and my cousin is out partying her ass off when she could be helping me save the world. Yeah, I would be really pissed off. And then she has the nerve to call me a bitch while I'm taking care of her shit dog. I felt that. I actually felt that a lot. But I don't know. I can't give it any more than a B. It might be blasphemy. It might be the only one, but that's how I feel.
So TJ, I want to be very clear here that when I say writing, I don't just mean dialogue. I mean the writing in general, the structure, the plot, the pacing of the film. All of these things go into the writing for me. That's why if I'm just looking at, because you did point out some flaws that I do agree with, any individual emotional connection between characters doesn't ever get to a huge level because there's so much going on. And that's part of the drawbacks of a film like this. But I think that the extent to which they were able to have them in a film that also launched a cinematic universe with many memorable characters in it is tantamount to that writing. Like we mentioned earlier with the little creature guy. That's writing. Having that happen, that's writing. And that's why. So do you want to meet in the middle and call us a B plus?
All right, I'm cool with that.
A lot of B pluses here. And honestly, that's kind of, I think, where this movie stands.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think we're going to get there. Again, with the politics, I'm going to give it a B plus because it is, James Gunn gets all the credit in the world for going so hard at Israel, but I do think it just, I like the Hope Corps message. I absolutely love it, but it fails to hit any sort of next gear. It gets credit for the political message that it did deliver, but I don't feel like, if you really look back at it, it was an incredibly well thought out, coherent political message, other than the actual theme of the movie being particularly good.
This is so funny. I can't wait to do more of these in the future because we keep, bouncing. I'm giving the politics an A. I'm giving the politics an A because it is a popcorn Superman film for mass audience.
Okay. So let's be clear here. So I was thinking of it just in general in all context.
But if we're talking about
superhero films, okay, that's fine. Superhero films, it probably has the best politics of them.
Yeah, because we're watching Smurfs 4, and we talk about the politics. I'm not going to be expecting a whole lot from it, but the fact that it was I thought it was incredibly ballsy. They made it very clear. We are pro-immigrants. We're pro fucking, illegal immigration. We are pro-Palestine. That is, I don't know. I would be surprised to see that much overt correct politics in a film that's meant for a broad audience like that. So, and yeah, so I'm giving it an A.
Okay, I'm fine with giving it an A. I'm totally okay. I'm much more fine with giving the politics an A than I am with giving the writing a B plus. But we all have to make compromises, right? Entertainment value. I think it's an A plus. Just about as much as I could have asked for a superhero. Like this film to me is all that it should have been and more. If it, I don't think it's necessarily again in that top tier of superhero films, but entertainment value, it was a riotous experience from start to finish.
Huh. I'm trying to decide between A and A minus here for the entertainment value because it was really fun to watch. I'll probably watch it again, but if I'm thinking, I'm trying to compare it to other superhero films, and if how like other superhero films that I said that was really fun, I loved it, and I'm thinking like Winter Soldier and Infinity War, like I think I enjoyed those more. I think actually like for entertainment.
I think it's not fair to compare it to Infinity War because Infinity War is the culmination of a massive sequence. If you were to sit me down and just, hey, watch Superman, watch Infinity War in and of themselves, Superman's the more enjoyable film.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Enough. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Well, Winter Soldier's kind of that way too because it's a sequel.
Winter Soldier, I think, stands on its own more.
Winter Soldier's amazing. Like I would like there was So and like I
would actually put this on a similar level, like overall as a movie on a similar level to Infinity War.
All right, I'll give it an A.
Not Infinity War, Civil War, not Civil War. Fuck, Winter Soldier, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I'll give it an A then. I'll give it an A.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll meet there. So we have visuals B plus, performance B plus, writing B plus, politics A, entertainment value A, final score. I think that leaves us at a B plus.
I mean 3 A's. That should take it to an A minus. Oh no,
well, 3 B plus. 3 B pluses and 2 A's.
Okay, yeah, B plus. Yep, sounds good. Yeah. Sounds good.
I think that's exactly. Yeah. And I want to be very clear. If I was giving a final score just on superhero movies, it's an A plus, not S. It's an A to an A plus, wherever you want to call that. It's not The Dark Knight. It's not Spider-Verse. It's not Spider-Man 2. Those to me are like the 3 S tier comic book movies. Would you agree with me on that, TJ?
Yeah,
yep. And so this is the tier right below that, where you put the Winter Soldier, you put Infinity War, you put whatever other superhero films are kind of right on that level. Suicide Squad, I would also put on this level. I think they're kind of equally good films. But yeah, so B plus for the movie, and wonderful. Anything else you want to say?
I think that's it. I think I wrapped it up. I thought that was fantastic. I'd love to do more of these. Yeah, we can like put more structure in, but I think for the first run, that went great.
Yeah, guys, definitely. If you're watching this later on YouTube, drop the comments. The next, we're calling this the Left Wing Film Club for now because I wrote that 30 seconds before the show started, and I think it's going to stick. So, Left Wing Film Club, let us know your recommendations for movies that we should review. TV shows would also count, I believe, for this, although they're a little bit more difficult just because it takes us longer to watch them.
Yeah.
But we'll be doing our classics like The Boys and Invincible, our favorites. We'll continue to do as they come out. But definitely let us know what you want us to review. Or join us on Thursday and drop it in the comments. We'll make sure to make note of it. Otherwise, see you then 6:30 on Thursday. We got American Opposition coming on the show. Very excited to have him. And yeah, see you guys then.
Later, guys.